Bobby. Big stuff going on. Big stuff going on. Thankfully, found my trove of nude pictures of you from 2010.
They're not really nude.
That's the best you can do? You don't just deny it and call me a liar? Alice, you need to
They're
get...
pictures I don't want you sharing.
Yeah, okay.
But they're not nude.
No, they're not. I was just kidding. I was just kidding right there. Don't take every piece of bait, Alice. It reminds me, like, when I've asked you honest questions on this podcast from just cold, and, like, you answer honestly. They're never meant to be answered in... Oh, my goodness. Like, you didn't have to tell everybody about Andy. Like, sir, you don't have to tell us.
That was a good story.
All of us can survive.
I was trying to share and be open with you and our listeners.
Okay.
About Andy. And you were mean to me about it.
I was not mean to you about it.
You were.
But my question to you, Alice, did you ever sleep with your masseuse? Your sudden answer being yes is not something I would...
I was a setup. With the masseuse.
I expect you to lie, Alice, when I say this. That's why I can't ask you questions cold anymore, because who knows what the truth is going to be. Freaking knock me over.
Sleep with a masseuse.
Oh, stop it, Alice. Don't insult everybody. These people listening now...
I did not.
The people listening now have paid for this. So, please. It doesn't matter.
Speaking of people who pay for the podcast... the ad-free versions of all 3 podcasts are now available on the Patreon. So they're being posted. They're going to be in 3 separate feeds, so you can choose what you get and what you don't. I have posted video directions of how to add it to your Apple Podcast app. And there's, other podcast apps that let you just add an RSS link that should work similarly, like Pocket Cast and some of those, where you can just add the RSS link.
Pocket Cast?
That's a podcast app some people use. There's various
This
ones.
is today. I got to deal with corporate Alice making all your sharp decisions, and
so
it's really that person's really a pleasure to work with.
Thank you. The only one that doesn't work for is Spotify, but I think Spotify actually almost has a better experience. So there's directions for that too. But basically, you can just access it from our regular podcast feed in Spotify. On each episode, there's like a little button under the episode title that says, ad-free version or extended version for the ones with bonus content. And then you click that and it hooks up to your Patreon, and then you can play the Patreon episodes in Spotify as well. So that should be all connected now. If you run into problems, let me know.
Which is good, because the Patreon folks, we get to give more content, which we were happy about still to be able to do.
So
you always get the content, but the more ad-free content.
Well, yeah. So now that the All You Can Eat and Shot of Shattuck both have ads, you're essentially getting 11 to 12, depending how many All You Can Eats we do. 11 to 12 ad-free episodes of podcast per week, plus extra Burn Barrel content each week, just by being a $5 member. And then the live streams are for like $10 and up.
Really?
But, yeah. So $5, not to sell it so hard, but like that many podcast episodes ad free for $5 a month is like a really good value, I think.
Oh, good. I don't know. I don't think I think we follow, who do we follow on Patreon? We do follow one person. Matt Welch.
No, that's on something else. That's on Substack, I think.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Oh, but we do pay for some stuff. NRO commentary. Is that right?
Yeah, but that's not through Patreon.
Okay. I don't know. I should not be on the stage here with you.
You don't know.
There are not 2 seats needed at this TED Talk. You just want to.
So, yes, you should be able to access everything there. If you cannot, or if something's wrong with it, let me know and I'll see what I can do to help. And because I know listening in the Patreon app is annoying. I think Tom knows where he needs to upload everything and what he needs to do in order to make those continue to show up automatically.
Tom does know. He does.
We'll see.
Yeah, and that is fantastic. And by the way, just neither here nor there, and I don't want to, this is not what the show's about, but, it's a huge... I know from just being working in hotels and being from just when I was a younger guy, and having a girlfriend who was this is 20 years ago, who was my age, time that it is a very common thing for women to be romantic with masseurs. It's a very common thing. And
I was not though.
Okay, but it makes totally makes sense because like what other person is going to be that intimate with a
It's nice
woman?
to have somebody touch you.
Alice, you're not doing well for your case here. I understand, Alice.
I didn't sleep.
Why are you being defensive? I'm not talking about you.
Okay.
Let's take it to other women who have been romantic with masseurs. It's, I mean, that's very intimate, and it's a guy in this case for the Eddie. It's a handsome guy, and it's just usually a strong guy with strong hands making women feel pleasure. It's like you get all the who probably has to listen to your ridiculous BS too during the thing. If you're wanting to make small talk.
Well, usually I don't make small talk. I just sit in silence.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't want to know anymore. I am not asking for more information on the X's and O's of what happened. Alice.
Nothing happened.
Incredible. You're allowed to have a life before me, Alice. Okay? It was before me, right? Alice?
Yes. But nothing happened.
Okay.
But it was before.
The nothing that happened was all before me.
Nothing that
Okay, yeah.
happened
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Okay, nothing also happened in Iran. Nothing happened there either. Okay, so the U.S. Hit Iran. Trump last night, as you guys know, hit Iran. And a bunch of nuke sites. It is. I think it's a good thing. I think Iran sucks. I think the government sucks. And I think that they can decapitate this regime. And I don't see this as being the beginning of World War III.
I don't even think we're trying to necessarily decapitate the regime, even if that's what Israel wants, theoretically. But, I mean, we just don't want them to have a nuclear weapon.
Right. We don't want them to have a nuclear weapon.
Which it's a good conversation because I kind of think there are people out here, especially if you go very like code pink anti-war, which a bunch of the right is right now, which again, I'm sympathetic to in a lot of ways, as we discussed the other day. But if you go like fully down that path, a bunch of people sort of go like, why shouldn't Iran have nukes? Israel has nukes. You know, North Korea has nukes, Pakistan has nukes. And we treat countries differently and with more respect when they have nukes, obviously. Like, that's why places like Pakistan and North Korea go out and get nukes. That's why Iran wants nukes, because the U.S. will treat them differently if they have nukes.
Right. That's why
everybody does.
And that's why we threaten countries to not have nukes. And that's why Gorbachev ran into the arms of Ronald Reagan when we started to get the SDI, Strategic Defense Initiative, Star Wars, anti-nuke system set up, or supposedly was getting it set up, and that drove the Gorbachev into Reagan's arms. And because they were like, okay, if there is no mutually assured destruction now, if the U.S. has Star Wars, and so they had to deal with us, and we took advantage of it. And yes, of course, the Iranians want nukes, and Iran is not like Israel. These are radical Shiite Muslim fanatics over there. They don't care about life, or they don't have the same moral structure that we have whatsoever. They don't care.
Obviously, that's why they fund all this terrorism and everything. And to be clear, that's not the Iranian people. That's just the Iranian political leadership now, which the Iranian people have a lot of problems with, obviously.
Yes, and that's another thing we'll get into here, because everybody is trying to have a problem with this in any way they possibly can. But a lot of Democrats, it's a tough one for the Democrats, because they don't mind bombing people. When their leader, the esteemed Barack Obama, was president, he bombed the hell out of a lot of countries and used to drone individuals just willy-nilly. That was his thing. So it's tough to have a leg to stand on. They're trying, though. But this is General Dan Raisin Kane, who's the favorite general of the moment around Trump.
Last night, on the president's orders, U.S. Central Command, under the command of General Eric Kurilla, executed Operation Midnight Hammer, a deliberate and precise strike against 3 Iranian...
You saw the Paul Pelosi memes?
No.
nuclear facilities. This was a complex and high-risk mission carried out with exceptional skill and discipline by our joint force. I want to thank every service member, planner, operator that made this mission possible. Their actions reflect the highest standards of the United States Armed Forces. This operation was designed to severely degrade Iran's nuclear weapons infrastructure. It was planned and executed across multiple domains and theaters with coordination that reflects our ability to project power globally with speed and precision at the time and place of our nation's choosing. This was a highly classified mission with very few people in Washington knowing the timing or nature of this plan.
And that's a good point, too, because it is remarkable that this thing didn't leak to anybody, anywhere. Of course, Congress is all ticked off. The Democrats in Congress are all ticked off. You didn't tell us. Of course we didn't tell you. You kidding me?
Of course, yes. And, you know, they obviously can't have it both ways because they've been complaining that, you know, Hegseth and the defense people were too leaky before, right? So, you know, they can't now complain that it didn't leak. So we didn't tell them.
Hold on, let's
a bunch of people in Congress, left and right, too, have complained and said essentially that this is illegal, that we've declared war on Iran without going through Congress, which we haven't gone through Congress to declare war in decades. I don't know why we'd start now. Like the consensus, for better or worse, the consensus has been that, like, all these things that we've been doing for the last however many years have been legal, even though Congress didn't declare war on any country for them. So, it is what it is.
Alice's favorite member of Congress is very upset about this.
I go back in on Monday. You could have hollered at us on Monday. If you truly felt like there was something like, there is nothing that they will say that will make me believe that this action needed to take place, and it needed to take place without the consultation of the Congress. All right. Give me one more.
How can the Senate be involved to make them accountable for what they're doing?
I mean, listen, y'all was talking about accountability. The systems have broken down.
Like, would you tell her beforehand anything?
No.
Would you holla at her before?
No, we would not holla at her before trying to conduct a military. By the way, this operation is, like, the details of it are crazy. They flew out of Kansas City, Missouri without stopping there and back 30 hours. You know, they refueled in midair and that stuff. You know, they were in the country for, like, a really short amount of time, dropped the bombs, got out. This is, like, the first time we've used these bunker buster bombs. They dropped them, like, super precisely because they can't quite go deep enough to do what they needed to do. So they literally, like in Star Wars, dropped them on a ventilation thing. Perfect. And then dropped another one, like, really close to being right on top of it so that it could go even further, because that was, like, then weakened by the first one going in. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's why when you look at the pictures, those strikes, the, like, holes from them are super close together. It was an incredibly precise, incredibly difficult
really
mission to carry out. It's amazing. The left has nothing bad to say about it, really. Like, the media is trying. This New York Times guy.
Oh, too good.
They're trying, and they're actually getting upset about this. I don't know. It's not just the New York Times anymore. I don't know if you saw this, but they're trying to actually, like, make this a thing.
Are they really? Oh, that's great.
Because, well, I'll explain why. But basically, Hegseth in the briefing this morning said he referred to the B-2 pilots as our boys in those bombers, yet both men and women have trained to fly them.
Of almost any American if you had an opportunity to watch it in real time. And I think Tehran is certainly calculating the reality that planes flew from the middle of America in Missouri overnight, completely undetected over 3 of their most highly sensitive sites, and we were able to destroy nuclear capabilities. And our boys in those bombers are on their way home right now.
As the boys.
Yeah, so they couldn't leave this alone. The New York Times immediately picked up on it and said this. Then they did a little more digging. Jen Griffin at Fox News. Fox News has learned that at least one of the B-2 pilots who took part in the Iran mission was female.
Right.
So we found one. Ha ha.
Well, I'm sure that's the Department of Defense told them. Just want to give, because why not? First of all, you say the boys, which makes the left New York Times seem like a total bunch of bitches. It's not all boys. It's like that's not the point. The point is they freaking.
They did an amazing friggin' job. No
and
one's
boys is a turn of phrase. It's like saying, "Hey, you guys," when there's girls there. You know what we mean?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so incredible.
It's so annoying. It's like you, but the fact that that's what they're focusing on right now shows you that they really there's not much bad they can say about what happened here. Oh, and so they have that. And then their next, like the media is not really saying much bad. The sort of commentators and left-wing pundits and other people who hate Trump and politicians are going with now Iran's going to retaliate and this is going to be terrible and XYZ.
Well, there's two. They're going for or process because you didn't tell Congress, like we just said. Mm-hmm. Or they're going to retaliate. And there is some truth to this, but it's really not.
Mick Chuck in the chat says Chris Murphy called Donald Trump weak because of the strike.
Yeah. He is such a dickless guy. I don't even know what to say anymore. He is always looking for something. He's the most anodyne, biggest eunuch in politics. And his chick needs to shut the hell up and stop telling him to do this stuff.
Yeah, this homewrecker who broke up his marriage is now advising him on his social media because she's like some PR political hack.
Elon Musk gave the Hi Hitler thing, and Trump is literally a despot now, and we have to let go. We have to let the Nicaraguan rapist go. And okay, keep listening to her. But here's another one. This is CNN's Clarissa Ward. Tell me if you can glean what this new take is going to be.
And I think that, when you talk to people in Iran, and I'm actually just talking right now to a woman who's a journalist inside Iran, that's sort of exactly the fear, that a wounded dog can be their most dangerous when they're kind of on the back foot, when they are weakened. I've just been speaking to this woman. I've been talking to her throughout the last couple of weeks. But particularly, obviously, in the last week, she just messaged me to say, my God, everybody's awake, everybody's in shock. Obviously, they haven't had internet. It comes in small waves. She's asking, what do you think's going to happen? How will it continue? And she said something that really sort of struck me. She said, if the war continues, the country will be destroyed. And if it doesn't, the Islamic Republic will take its revenge on us. And I think she speaks for a very specific voice in Iran, but it's an important voice because it's a voice we're not hearing so much of because there's so much fear about speaking out in Iran, which is that voice of people who feel caught in the middle, who have no love for the regime and the Ayatollahs, who have seen their friends and activists killed for literally dancing in YouTube videos.
So now the take is, usually the take from the left would have been in years past, kill the person that's doing the Handmaid's Tale to all the women and their rights and the people who want a free thing. Now it's don't piss off the authoritarian regime because they're going to be mean to citizens who want to protest and want to speak to the press. It's like, which one is? It used to be 20 years ago, the people would say, it's terrible that the Taliban is running and girls can't go to school in Afghanistan. Then it became, oh no, we need to get out. It's like what do you should be for the regime being on its back feet,
right?
You should be the bad guys. It's not Trump's fault if the bad guys want to oppress and torture their countrymen. That's what they do.
Well, and to be clear, I don't think that we should go into Iran, into a war with the goal of toppling the regime and freeing the women. I don't think that's a legitimate cause for us to be at war in that country. But to use it as an excuse to not defend our national interests, and I do think it is our national interest to not let Iran get a nuke.
Yes, absolutely.
I just do. And so, because that changes the dynamics of a lot of things.
You are right. People are saying that this is exactly the same thing that we saw with WMDs. No, it wasn't.
No, they literally are getting a nuke. This is not...
Well, not only that, but the WMD thing was a large-scale invasion of Iraq by America. That's not in the books.
Yeah. And, Trump and J.D. Vance have gotten at this a little bit. Did you hear him on Meet the Press, Vance?
Oh yeah, we got some of that.
Yeah, because essentially what he said to her on Meet the Press today, because they were all over this today, obviously on the Sunday shows. And he went on and he essentially said, "Look, I'm very sympathetic to people who don't want to be involved in foreign wars. The difference is, in these other wars, we had presidents who were stupid and now we don't." Like, essentially, that's what he said, which is like kind of a crazy thing to say. But it's also, I think, one of Trump's strengths as a president is his like not caring lizard brain, where he feels
absolutely
zero compunction to be like, we're going to be greeted as liberators. We're going to go in and rebuild Iran. Like, he has no interest in doing that.
No, and I think that it also, his lizard brain, when he's like tweeting colorfully about this, that's got to talk about lizard brain. He's like mildly amused.
I think the president has been very clear that we are not interested in protracted conflicts in the Middle East, but there's a question about how do you achieve peace, and we believe the way that you achieve peace is through strength. We took a very narrow and limited approach to destroying the Iranian nuclear program, John. That's what the president did, and I think that, more than anything, is going to ensure peaceful resolution in that region of the world. You can't be weak. You can't sit there and allow the Iranians to achieve a nuclear weapon, John, and expect that's going to lead to peace. It would lead to absolutely disastrous military conflict all over the Middle East. We don't want that. Our Gulf Arab nation allies don't want that. Israel doesn't want that. And it's one of the few issues, frankly, that unites the Arabians to the Israelis is none of them want the Iranians to get a nuclear weapon because they know that it would lead to the opposite of peace. And so I'd say to people who are worried about a protracted military conflict is, number one, the president, more than anybody, is worried about protracted military conflicts. That is not what we're getting ourselves involved in. What we're getting ourselves involved in is a very targeted effort to eliminate the Iranian nuclear program. That will continue to be the goal of American foreign policy, and it's that goal that is going to motivate our action in the weeks and months to come.
So it's pretty straight on. There was a high point today with with Rubio and Margaret Brennan. Rubio is really a sharp guy. He is really a great asset to have.
Up on a phrase you just word, weaponization ambitions. Are you saying there that the United States did not see intelligence that the Supreme Leader had ordered weaponization?
That's irrelevant. I see that question being asked on the media. That's an irrelevant question.
No,
they have
that is
everything
the
they
key
need to build
point
a weapon.
in U.S. intelligence assessments. You know that.
No, it's not.
Yes, it was.
No, it's
that
not.
The political decision had not been made.
I know that better than you know that, and I know that that's not the case.
But I'm asking you whether the order was given.
And the people who say that, it doesn't matter if the order was given. They have everything they need to build nuclear weapons. Why would you bury things in a mountain, 300 feet under the ground?
Right.
Why would you bury why do they have 60% enriched uranium? You don't need 60% enriched uranium. The only countries in the world that have uranium at 60% are countries that have nuclear weapons. Because they can quickly make it 90. They have all the elements. They have. Why do they have a space program? Is Iran going to go to the moon? No, they're trying to build an ICBM.
No, but
so
that's
they can one day put a warhead on
They
it.
just really care about green renewable energy. They're trying to get off fossil fuels. Obviously, they're trying to compete with Elon Musk for space travel.
Well, you make a great point, and that's one of the reasons why you see Tommy Vietor losing his mind and Ben Rhodes. The Obama bros are losing their mind. Vietor's like just tweeting the F word. He's lost his mind, which you love to see, because what this represents, what the Obama administration was about, and especially the culture of those West Wing bros, was we're more clever than you can even fathom.
Right.
We're smarter than you. When Tommy Vietor went on and Brett Baer said, what about Benghazi news? Dude, that was like 3 years ago. And that dude, they're so smug. They think they're so bright. Ben Rhodes, Jonah Goldberg, we talked about this last week. He wrote about him reading his book, some master classic to his 3-year-old, whatever. They're so pretentious. They're such pseudo-intellectuals. They think they're the most brilliant in the world. And that's why it's an incredible pitch, incredible, brilliant Don Draper, workshop in intellectualism to say, you know what we'll do? No, listen here. We'll coach the Iranians in their building of nuclear facilities, and we can get through to them so that they won't build a weapon. They'll see that we're enlightened. We're different than administrations like that cowboy who was before us.
And Tommy in New Hampshire mentions unfreezing their assets.
Oh, right,
too.
exactly. Which, of course, they told us is, we owed that to the Shah in 1976, so we had to give it over. Total gaslight BS. But they said, well, yeah, we'll use this money to give them cash, and then we'll allow them to build these green, climate-friendly nuclear reactors. We won't let them enrich uranium, and it's going to be different because we can trust them because they're going to see that they can trust us.
Yeah.
Because we're different. We're better. We're more intellectual. And these people, although they seem like they throw gays from roofs and that they're radical mullahs, they can work with our pragmatism because we're part of Team Obama. And Team Obama is different than anybody who's ever ascended here. And we're part of this Manhattan Project.
Well, right. And then we had them, and then we had the Biden administration, and Mick Chuck says in the chat, I was really surprised when Biden and Harris told Iran, don't, and finger wagging didn't stop them from doing this. And this brings up something to me. I think this is related to how these people parent and the type of parents that they are, and because they view this almost like parenting. There's a type of parent that thinks that you can like be your kid's friend and show you really understand them and like make deals with them, and like actually your kid just sees that as weakness and takes advantage of you completely. And that's like what the Iran thing is. Yeah. The Trump administration just said, no, you're not doing this. You're not having a nuke. And when push came to shove, they friggin' took out the nuke capabilities.
Oh, yeah.
They were like, you can't do this. Iran did it. And it was like, bam.
Yes.
And that's like the same type of thing that you need as a parent.
That's well said about the parent.
Just consequences where there's no, like, we're not negotiating. I'm not offering you a prize if you put on your shoes and get on the school bus this morning. We're just putting on your shoes and getting on the school bus. I'm just going to make that happen, and I'm not going to listen to your tantrum and you're crying about it and whatever. Like, it's just not happening. And it's funny because they do see themselves as this, and it's like the same parents who are like, well, they're going to do it anyway. They might as well drink at our house where it's safe because, like, we'll give you guys alcohol. If you
Did you just hear this from the Shattuck show?
Oh, no.
That was Friday's show, essentially.
Oh, I didn't listen.
Yeah.
So
you can drink at our house, or you know, Susie, your boyfriend can sleep over. You just do it.
They're going to do it somewhere. Just be safe.
Right, exactly.
We're going to hand out condoms in the schools. The kids are going to do it anyway. We need to make sure they're being safe.
Yeah. No, exactly. It is. And it's a nuanced way of approaching this. We have the new way, the better way. Not like our judgmental predecessors. Not like mean George W. Bush and mean Ronald Reagan and mean Richard Nixon who bombed Cambodia. We're doing it. We're not them. Don't worry. We're elevated. We think at a different level, and we know you're good people. It's the opening alien scene of Mars Attacks.
Right.
You know? Okay, dearest, allies, and they release the doves and everything gets whacked. It's like, no. This is exactly what Iran responds to. These aren't good people. These people in government these people are freaking murderous butchers. These are murderous butchers.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess we'll see what happens with the retaliation thing. I don't know that, like, we heard the same thing when Trump, was this guy that Trump took out? Soleimani. The same, like, all the same foreign policy experts had the exact same freak out about that. Like, they're going to retaliate. We're going to be in a war now. This is going to get Americans killed. So I'm going to hold off on freaking out about that until it happens because I don't necessarily trust the experts to know whether it's going to happen or not. Obviously, that would be bad. Obviously, if we have, a terror attack from a sleeper cell in the United States, that would be a terrible outcome to this. I do think that it's not a foregone conclusion that that's necessarily going to happen. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that we're now, quote, at war with Iran and that this is going to turn into a protracted thing. I think that's among the possibilities that could happen, but I just don't know really what the odds of that are. And I don't trust the expert class people like Tom Nichols and whoever who are telling me that that's definitely going to happen.
And you hear there's various reports that Iran has voted to shut down the Strait of Hormuz, which is a fourth of the world's oil or a third, whatever, but only 5% of ours, I think. which would be devastate Iran. I think that like over 55% of China's oil goes through there. Mm-hmm. But also, if Iran, the way they would do that is with their navy, and we just go sink their navy. I think Israel sank their entire navy over a weekend, or maybe we did like 30 years ago. It would not be a problem. Just sink all of their stuff. Yeah,
and that's kind of what Trump was saying. Like, if you retaliate, it's going to be easy for us to come and get you. Like, easier than this mission was. This was and I think that's part of why it was very effective, and part of why they did this in this way, is that doing this in this way was such a major flex. Mm-hmm. No other country has those capabilities to do that with that level of precision and power. So, and you know, there's people saying like, oh, well, they moved a bunch of the stuff beforehand. But this is just a saying, look what we can do. And so was the Soleimani thing, you know, back in Trump 1.0.
Well, right.
It's a saying we can do this, and there's nothing you can do about it, because we're the United States of America, and we're the only country that has this capability to do things quite like this.
Right. And just think about how psychologically what that has to do with certainly elected leaders in Iran and people in the government, just to know that they knew that we were probably coming, or something was coming. They were looking for us. We came and we're on the way back home before they knew what to do. They never got a shot off. The bombers bombed and were hit the
nothing shot at them the whole time they were in the country. And so it was like more than an hour after the attack that like anybody even knew what happened. It was really kind of incredible, and really such.
And what does that do? You got to think. Remember, we talked about before the one of the reasons for the Salem witch trials. Mm-hmm. Were these Indian raids that it would be in the middle of night in New England or wherever you were, and in the middle of the night, out of the darkness, out of the woods, suddenly these colonists would be overrun by Indians who would kill, rape, and murder them in seconds, just dead, bam, boom, 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 and they disappear off. And it was made the colonists paranoid, saying, "How is this happening? How is this happening that these?" That these savages are flying out of the woods. We can't detect them. They know their terrain, and they're murdering people. Like, what's going on here? And they say one of the things that caused the rich to string out the witches is because they had to have some kind of exorcism that was public to keep sanity. Okay, let's hang her. Maybe she's part of the black magic that's visited us. Something, and that's part of what Clarissa Ward was saying. It's just got to be just horrible for if you're the power structure in Iran to be absolutely powerless about this. And what does it say to the citizenry? That you can have from the Midwest in the United States, you can have these advanced, essentially, if freaking starships come over, wreak havoc, and go home.
Yeah, and in such a way that it's really like we didn't go after like military bases or civilians or population centers or shipping capability. Like we only went after one extremely specific thing, which was these nuclear facilities. And so it was incredibly targeted. And I've heard a bunch of discussion about this too, about the way Israel has conducted this so far and been very targeted. I've even seen some like Gaza genocide type people complaining like, well, if Israel were this targeted in Gaza, then nobody would be saying it was a genocide. Well, they can't be that targeted in Gaza because the terrorists are all mixed in.
Well, they were targeted in Gaza. They shot at the hospital because that's where Hamas was.
That's where Hamas is. But in Iran, like, they're a more normal country, not like Gaza, where like civilians live in one area and the nuclear facilities are somewhere else. If Iran were like Hamas, they would have the nuclear facility like inside a daycare. But so Israel has been able to be very targeted with what they've done in Iran, and they specifically have not gone after political leaders. And this is something I've seen a lot of discussion about online, about how with drones now, the ability to do targeted attacks on specific people has gotten so advanced. And there's so many videos online. Like, obviously, we've seen the video of the Hamas guy when he's being targeted by a drone attack when they took him out. Mm-hmm. And this drone just comes in and there's nothing he can do. It follows him into his apartment through the balcony and kills him, You remember seeing that video?
Yeah. Him sitting in the Barca lounger.
Yeah. So there's a lot of video out there too of how effectively these are being used in the Ukraine war too. Have you seen any of this?
Yes, of course.
So there are people that have done a ton of analysis. It's very difficult to escape when these drones come after like a Russian soldier in a field who's, gotten separated from wherever he's supposed to be. Like the drones can get it's incredibly effective. It's a little better in like a wooded area. There are some like factors that can make it easier, but like in the open, these things are like crazy effective. And and so far they've been used mostly for like military targets. But imagine if a country, Israel with drones or the United States with drones, decided to go after all the political leadership in Iran and kill. Like, we could do it. And the whole world, sort of like with nukes, has sort of.
Well, Iran just did. I mean, Israel just did it last week.
Oh, they done?
With drones. Remember they had the drone factory in Iran?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But what I'm saying is they haven't gone after, like, the political leadership.
Right, not political leadership, military leadership. Right, they have, yes,
yeah,
or the imam.
Right. So there's been a sort of sense of holding back with this new technology, kind of the way there was with nukes after Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Is everyone kind of went like, "Ooh, I don't know if we should like really even use these." Like, so there's been sort of this weird gentleman's agreement, unspoken thing. Where, there hasn't been anyone who's sent drones after political leaders, but that could start to happen after politicians and their families. Like, and the idea, if we started to have the level of protection around our political leaders, us and other countries, in order to prevent attacks like that, it would be almost impossible. Like, it's crazy. The drones are going to really, really change warfare a lot. And people are already kind of talking about the possibilities of it and what's going to happen for the future of warfare, because there haven't been political assassination attempts with these drones, really, but it's going to be coming.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's not going to be a shooter anymore. It's going to be a drone attack trying to kill Trump. And, like, how do you defend against that? How do you defend against that, not just for Trump, but, like, for his whole cabinet, for other people, for their families? No one's going to want to be a politician if there's a chance all your loved ones could be killed in random drone attacks by some foreign actor. These things fly,
too. I mean, they're not just fly in the air, but they go really fast. I've seen in Amesbury, Mass, they have races sometimes, and it's incredible. Yeah. You can hear them more than you can see them. Should we get to our Vancouver guy? Have you seen the guy dressed as a sparrow?
I don't think I have seen the guy dressed as a sparrow. You just
get the visual. This is from End Wokeness. This is breaking. Vancouver just renamed Church Street to Street to be inclusive. So they're using characters they had to change the street sign because the mean white people had made it Church Street, and that was the first colonial governor there or whatever. Mm-hmm. He was mean to indigenous people. So now they have this guy dressed like an owl, really, an indigenous guy. You got to stop doing this. Stop doing this. There's no ceremony, by the way, where our side dresses with the pilgrim buckle hats and doesn't stop dressing like idiots.
Well, we do have reenactments.
Yeah, reenactments is it. But
we're forced to speak English.
This is Chief Wayne Sparrow, who is dressed like a sparrow. You see that I sent it to us? Mm-hmm. Look at this picture. We're forced to speak English.
We're forced to speak English. They were forced to do away with our language. And if we're walking reconciliation, we walk together.
The street formerly known as Trutch.
That is literally dressed with with feathers out of his head. Trutch Street.
Had been named after BC's first lieutenant governor, whose views and policies about First Nations people are now recognized as racist and wrong.
Which, by the way, in 1780 we were recognized as pragmatic and logical.
The Musqueam have long been troubled by having to look at it, and there was unanimous support at City Council to take it down. But what to replace it with?
You hear that?
Can you pronounce it?
it's just absolutely amazing. Here, I'll take a picture of the street sign for you so you can see it. And you can, if you want to, just let me know just how to pronounce this really quickly. I would like to know.
Yeah, I looked at it. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Yeah.
It has a lot of.
It has an S with an accent that doesn't exist, then an X, and then a tiny exponent size W, then an M, then an upside down E, because you can't use the normal E that's right side up. And then they actually go into how they came up with this street sign. So now we're playing F around with the street.
Why is it like that?
Symbol has a sound, and they're all sounded out.
Well, the English translation is Musqueam View, the new legal name of the...
Which is bad enough. Musqueam View. Just don't play along with these people. Don't make your signs, Stone Age languages. Oh.
Street is written in characters from the North American phonetic alphabet, a system developed by linguists to express words from First Nation languages.
In other words,
they didn't have their own writing,
right.
Basically.
They made up.
Long story short.
But progressive linguists have decided that this is the noble language.
Here's Mayor Sim having a go at it.
Today, we officially renamed Trutch Street to Schmuckweem Awesome Street.
It's fine by me. It's just
Schmuckweem Awesome Street. Okay. Holy frig.
Does it sound like Schmuck Me, I'm awesome?
All right. Ready for the chat?
We can go to the chat. I do have a lot of things I want to bring up in the Patreon show still, including this article about women saying they don't need men anymore, and a Reddit post about how great it would be if they could create an all-women city.
Yes.
And live there, and how quickly the all-women city would need to import help.
Hey, Billy from Manchester.
Hey, Billy.
Just got done listening to a fifth of Shattuck. I never thought I'd say this, but I actually want to turn this into a mixed drink. I think that it needs Alice. Good Lord, I can't believe I'm saying that.
What?
Wow.
What?
Wow.
That is not where I thought that it was going to go.
No.
Does anyone else find it hard to believe that Tom getting a free breakfast doesn't remember if it was weekly or monthly? I don't know if it was weekly or monthly. It was a free breakfast.
Oh, yeah,
Come on, Tom. You know it was weekly. You know if it was monthly. You know when you got free meals. Please.
So the free breakfast, that's the breakfast club I was part of. Remember that?
I do.
Was that weekly? Every Monday?
Yes, it was every week. I don't know what day of the week it was.
And then I
but
stopped
it was
showing, and then
definitely
the guy yelled at me. The guy, the bank president or whatever, who ran the breakfast. I was supposed to go every week. I just stopped going. Like the Herald was falling apart, and we were whatever. And I found the things just to be terrible. And the guy who ran the breakfast called me. What? There was no actual breakfast, just munchkins and coffee. What's happening?
I don't know if I can see what Splash just said in the chat.
What?
About Schmuck Me, I'm Awesome Street. He said it connects to Blow Me, You Dummy Avenue.
So.
Today, we officially renamed Trutch Street to Schmuckweem Awesome Street.
it's fine by
Are you gonna be okay, Alice? Are you gonna be okay?
Oh my god.
Schmuck me, I'm awesome. Nobody here thinks anything ridiculous is happening, right? Right? No. We've used the linguists. They've constructed a language for the savage. For the. And they've come up with Schmuck me, I'm awesome.
Maybe there are times when you shouldn't, you should just be aware of the fact that the foreign words that you're choosing sound like something else in the language that primarily most of the people around speak. And so you should pick a different set of native words that doesn't sound like Schmuck Me, I'm Awesome.
Exactly. It doesn't start with a deep Yiddish slur.
Monthly, you know when you got free.
Yeah, that free meal. That's right. Oh yeah, I forgot I was just saying that the guy who ran the thing left me messages on my voicemail at the Herald, and he's like, "Yeah, cause Dan, whatever. Can you? I need you to call me, Tom. I need you to call me. I want to talk about this." Like, you my dad? Like, you need me to call you about because I haven't been showing up for breakfast? Holy frig!
Hey Tom, I wanted to comment on the shower whatever it is.
It struck me. I'm awesome.
You posted on the Burn Barrel on Friday, and John Bon Jovi said in an interview last year, he said, "Money makes you wealthy. It does not make you smart," and that's where people get confused.
Yes.
And he was 1,000% right. He always knew that he was no smarter than the average Joe. He was just super wealthy,
right?
Because of what he did. And boy, that's never more prevalent than in any of those rooms you were talking about where people are giving speeches. Yeah, people think if you make money and you make a lot of it, you're super smart.
No,
nothing could be further from the truth.
Yeah, no, I think it makes you much more arrogant, much more self-confident, and much more willing to speak your mind, especially when you have people pretending that you're saying something interesting or pretending that you're saying something funny. It's a nice little high to have there, but you're right about that.
Billy from Manchester, third time. Having said all this,
all right, I got to start with the time too. Then
Billy from Manchester again.
Hey, Billy.
You know, Alice had Tom read an Instagram post.
Yes.
Before he can get, I don't know, maybe it was like a 20, 30 word post.
Yeah.
He got through the fourth word and the yap already started interrupting him. I mean, I don't understand what's going on. It's called ADHD medication. It works. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
You guys don't want to medicate, but it works. And trust me, you will be fine.
Thank you. That was during, when did we read that? During All You Can Eat? The Instagram post that you had sent us, but I pulled up?
I don't remember.
Yeah. There was one. It was the All You Can Eat show yesterday. That's right. She was all very yappy in that one. Very yappy in that one. Oh.
Billy from Manchester, third time. Having said all this, your three podcasts are the best podcasts out there. The Kirk Minahan show is rapidly falling off that list. I mean, it is just it's not even. I mean, it's taken me at least 4 days to listen to one episode. So kudos to you.
Here we go, Billy. So the problem is with Kirk is that he's not doing shows. He's doing trivia, Barstool. Come on, no more Barstool stuff.
Well, I mean,
oh, you kiss ass. Go ahead, Alice.
He works at Barstool. They're
You're right.
doing
He does
stuff for the company that.
Not doing stuff for the company.
Okay.
Hey, Tom and Alice.
Hey, Tommy.
Tommy NH.
Hey, Tommy.
A few people asked me if I could get that audio from your debate with Alice the other night about foreign policy.
Yeah.
And I was able to isolate it.
Nice.
I apologize. This is going to go a little longer than what you normally accept.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to be approaching a minute and a half.
Uh-oh. The board cuts that off.
Welcome to Contemporary American History. I'm Professor Turgison.
Alice, do you know what this is from?
Nope.
Do you know who that gentleman's voice is?
I don't know.
You don't know what movie it's from?
Nope.
Okay.
History is just facts. It's just information about the past.
It's funny you mentioned this, Tommy, and this has, the Board of Alders has said that this can go long. This is exactly when I thought about it, and I made a promo with the clip, is I thought that was kind of in that spirit.
But not me. I mean, I hold history very sacred. Sacred.
This is Samuel Kinison talking to Rodney Dangerfield.
The farmer looks at the earth and he holds it sacred. The way a Christian takes the Bible and he holds it sacred. The way a lot of people hold their marriage sacred. That's how I feel about it. So why don't we dive right in by interpreting one of the easiest events in the last 20 years of American history. Now, can someone tell me?
Uh-oh, hold on. Hold on, I'm gonna get the actual one else. I'm going to deliver above and beyond, Alice. This is why people come to the Burn Barrel. You ready to be delivering of above and beyond?
Yes.
What are you ready to be delivering?
Above and beyond?
This is the higher quality audio.
To contemporary American history. I'm Professor Turgison. You know, a lot of people think history is just facts. It's just information about the past. But not me. I mean, I hold history very sacred. Sacred. The way the farmer looks at the earth and he holds it sacred. The way a Christian takes the Bible and he holds it sacred. Right? The way a lot of people hold their marriage sacred. So I feel about it. So why don't we dive right in by interpreting one of the easiest events in the last 20 years of American history. Now, can someone tell me why in 1975 we pulled our troops out of Vietnam?
The failure of Vietnamization to win popular support caused an ongoing erosion of confidence in the various American but illegal Saigon regimes.
He's laughing, smiling.
Is she right? Because I know that's the popular version of what went on there. I know a lot of people like to believe that. I wish I could, but I was there. I wasn't here in a classroom, hoping I was right, thinking about it. I was up to my knees in rice paddies with guns, and then we're going up against Charlie, slugging it out with him, while pussies like you were back here partying, putting headbands on, doing drugs, listening to the goddamn Beatle albums.
Hey, Professor, take it easy, will you? I mean, these kids, they were in grade school at the time. And me, I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover.
Well, I didn't know you wanted to get involved with the discussion, Mr. Helper. But since you want to help, maybe you can help me, okay? You remember that thing we had about 30 years ago called that Korean conflict? Yeah, where we failed to achieve victory. How come we didn't cross the 38th parallel and push those rice eaters back to the Great Wall of China and take the Berkeley brick and nuke them back into the fucking Stone Age River? How come? Tell me why! Say it! Say it!
All right, I'll say it. Because Truman was too much of a pussy wimp to let MacArthur go in there and blow out those commie bastards.
Good answer. Good answer. I like the way you think. I'm gonna be watching you.
A good teacher. He really seems to care. About what, I have no idea.
Oh, there we go, Alice. There we go. We lived through that. That was great. Yes, that was exactly what happened. Alice is the pussy wimp in the listen to her goddamn Beatles albums. That's right. All right, ready?
I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
Breaking news to the All You Can Eat podcast followers.
Oh, wow.
And all Tom Shattuck followers. Tom Shattuck usually stays away from the salad when going to a restaurant. I'm paraphrasing a quote from Tom directly.
That's a good one.
Thank you. That is breaking news. Thank you. That is in this recent edition, yesterday's edition of
which is free for patrons on Patreon.
So that's 3 shows now, Alice.
Mm-hmm.
One price. 3 shows or one price. It's almost edgy.
Hey, Billy from
Hey,
Manchester.
Billy.
You know, I listened to all the podcasts again this weekend.
Thank you, Billy.
Just finished up with the All You Can Mail In, which is pretty good, actually, because it's very revealing. I was trying to figure out, you know, Tom cries poverty all the time.
Correct.
I tend to lean towards you guys live more like the Gatsbys. But after hearing about free town picnics and, you know, getting full meals for your children at the fire department, I'm guessing it's more Cratchit.
Do you say Cratchit like Bob Cratchit or Ratchets like
I think he
Turtle Boy?
said Cratchit like Bob Cratchit.
Oh, I see.
It's a literary reference.
Yes, I'm familiar, Alice. He worked for
Jacob
Marley.
but I think Billy's a literary guy.
Yeah, he's from Gloucester. It's the home.
He's not from Gloucester.
Yes, he is.
Thank you so much for listening. If you are on Patreon, you can just stay there.
Oh, yes. We are that poor, please. Please join Patreon.
We are on Patreon, patreon.com/burnbarrel. we're going to do some more of the show right now for Patreon. That's going to be up there. The additional episodes that additional episode piece will be posted on like podcast apps like Spotify if you're on Patreon, all that stuff. So we will see you there.